Bang! Neves Knives. I'm Jared, and today we have two new buck knives, USA made. I'm really excited about these. This we will check out next. First, let's check out the new Buck Sprint Ops that's using a detent nub like on a Sharp Eye Designs Brian Nadeau knife. S30V. Hollow ground, sheep's foot blade. I wouldn't call this a reverse tanto because in order for it to be reverse tanto, it'd have to be sharpened up here. Not quite a spade point, more of a sheep's foot. Nice hollow ground blade. Black micarta, steel liners, deep carry clip. We'll get back to all that in a second. First, let's check out this nub in the action, because I heard that this had a really crisp detent. I heard that it was super snappy, and holy cow. So the flipper tab, super comfortable placement for your finger. You can easily rest it on top or do the push button. Both of them are very comfortable. And then you have the nub. So a detent nub, what is that? It's instead of using a detent ball, it uses a little nub on the top of the lock bar, as you can see right there. And so when you unlock it, one thing, it's already up on the tang or up on the detent nub right there. So it's very easy to get past, and it's very, very smooth. The next thing is it offers a super consistent, snappy detent. This is the best detent I've ever felt from Buck. It is so good. Very, very smooth on the drop. It is riding on bearings. This thing kicks very nicely, very consistent. You know, if you guys have ever tried a Brian Nadeau knife, then you'll know how a detent nub system works. It's my favorite kind of detent system. And you can actually see here the nub hole. Instead of it being just a hole, they have this white stuff in there. I'm not sure what the white stuff is, but they are using it. And you can see when it goes back into how it clicks in. Really good. It almost like it stops right there, almost presses in. You can do a great push button. Fantastic light switch. It kicks. It really does. Super good action. And when you disengage it, you have good access to the lock bar. And like I said, it's already up on the blade, or up on the liner. I'm sorry. There's no fumbling around with a detent ball right here trying to get it up on the tang of the blade. So the drop shuttiness is also very nice. Now, the blade. The blade is pretty thick behind the edge, even though it is a hollow grind. We're looking at 30 plus behind the edge, 30 thousandths, 30 to 35 thousandths behind the edge. However, it's a hollow grind. It really doesn't feel that thick, and it feels like it's slightly robust. So it'll work just fine. The tip is nice and durable, and then we have this beautiful swedge on the top, which I think is going to help pass the blade through materials. The materials will go around the blade because the thickness of the spine is cut out right here, so the stuff will go over and, you know, pass over the blade really nicely as you're pushing it through things. And if you use a low angle, kind of like they've already sharpened this S30V blade at, it'll cut really, really good. Now, it does have a deep carry clip that I believe is reversible. I'm not quite sure about that. Maybe not. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Maybe there's an extra one in the box. But I think you just take off those screws and flip it. But anyways, when it's in your hand, it's comfortable aside from the scoop of the clip. This, I wish they would have put this in the middle of the handle instead of up here on the spine. I can adjust my hand to make it work, so it's not that big of a deal, but I do feel it if I just put it in my hand and grip it quite a bit. So you just kind of got to adjust, and this blade shape is going to work great for utility cuts and EDC use. Internal stop pins, really excited about that too. It does help with the lockup, and this thing is rock solid like a tank. I mean, it is rock solid. Love, love, love that. Now, we'll get to this next one, and then we will bring these back. Or you know what? Let's talk about some quick negative things before we bring up the next one. So, one negative thing is this plunge grind. I don't know what it is with Buck and their choils. They cannot do plunge grinds for the life of them. Now, I'm very happy to see them stepping up their game. They are stepping up their game. I'm very, very happy with that. So, you know, overall, I'm happy. But little tiny details when you're, paying a hefty price, because these are USA made. They're, when you spend a little bit more, you don't just want the materials to go up in quality. You expect other things to go up in quality. And the plunge grind does hit the edge. And when I sharpen it, it will create a smile back here. Is it going to functionally hurt anything? No. I mean, it can chip your stones, but it's mostly just going to be ugly to look at. But not that big of a deal. The next thing, the quality of the micarta could be a little bit better for this price. It's micarta. It's okay, but, it could be better. The next thing is, and this is so subtle, I hate to complain about it because it is that subtle. There is a tiny, tiny bit of detent lash. And I mean, it is, you probably can't even see it. It is that subtle. It's very, very light. I don't know if it's just because they're using the detent enough for the first time. Now, these guys have a great warranty, so I could just send it in. But it does have that. Now, I don't know what this white stuff is. That's, like I said, maybe that'll help if I clean that out or reapply it, whatever it is. But it does have a little tiny, tiny, tiny drop of detent lash. That's so subtle, I don't think it'll get worse or anything like that. It's not that big of a deal. The centering is not perfect on this. Is it that big of a deal? No, I might be able to adjust it. I'm not sure. Like I said, it is solid. So, I don't think I can adjust it any more than it already is. So it just came out of the box, not centered perfectly. Not a horrible deal, and it's close. It's close, but not perfect. But, like I said, when you're paying a hefty price for $1, like I said, you expect other things to kind of go up. But overall, I'm very, very happy with it. Next, let's check out this little guy. Now, this is a new automatic that is supposed to be legal everywhere. And this is this one is the Mini Deploy. So, Cali legal, automatic, and it's using a spring that's the same size as their large knives. So their large automatics, they put the same size spring. So this thing is super snappy. I mean, crazy snappy. Listen to that snap. This thing hammers out. 154 cm hollow ground blade in a Boss heat treat. Now, I will bring up this one here in a second, and we will do an overall thing, because I do want to talk a little bit at the end. Aluminum handles with some type of anodizing or coloring. 3-finger grip, but you can take advantage of this spot right here. So this is going to be crazy comfortable for like utility cuts and things. You can put your 3 fingers there, 1 finger on the spine. Great utility cuts or going around packages and boxes. It's going to be very versatile for EDC. Deep carry clip. This one is for sure reversible because it's just a straightforward clip. And these clips work great. Buck uses a great clip in this case, and yeah, it works great. T8 hardware down here, T6 hardware up here holding this nice big giant stop pin, nice large stop pin, large plunge, and the button is countersunk, so you're not going to accidentally push it. You do have to mean to push it when it deploys. Awesome, awesome little knife. This is going to be great. I think a lot of people are going to love this. Now, I do have a couple complaints. Let's go over them really quickly. One thing is it does have some blade rock up and down. Now, I think I can fix it because while it has a super strong spring for the deployment, there's also a secondary spring inside here pushing this plunge right here that's moving. Right, there's a little spring in there. I could take that spring out and stretch it a little bit because it does feel a little bit spongy. It doesn't feel as strong as it should be. So I can either replace it with a stronger spring or stretch it and make it a little bit stronger. Also, Buck has a great warranty. I could send it in and they could do it, but I think I could just do that at home. It does have a little bit of side to side. I did tighten the pivot just a little bit, and it did not go away. Is it that big of a deal? Not really. It's an auto. It's not a hard use knife by any means. It's a light duty cut things kind of knife, so not that big of a deal. And I don't think it's gonna make the knife any weaker or anything like that. It's very little, and I can tighten it up to its max, and it still has it a little bit, so maybe it needs it to deploy the knife as fast as it does, and it is nice and centered. Now the plunge grind, again, you know, same thing. You can see where the plunge grind starts or ends. Sorry, the ending is right there, and it goes down, so it's already got a little smile starting. So next time I sharpen it, this one's not going to be as bad as the other one. As I sharpen it, it'll basically have a smile about the same size to the edge. You know, the same size smile it has now will just continue, and it'll just get a little bit bigger and bigger every time you sharpen it by the percentage of the thickness of the other edge, you know, because while this gets bigger with the, like, if I lower the angle back, the bigger my edge bevel gets, the bigger the smile will get. Basically, that's what I'm saying. Anyways, this does have a nice tacky, or not nice, but a tacky coating on it. It feels very durable. I'm not sure how durable it is. The other one's more of like a PVD coating. Next thing, oh yeah, there is lots of milling on the inside of this one, unlike the other one. The other one has just countersunk liners with no milling. Now, I do want to talk a little bit about the steels. So S30V, I love S30V. I prefer S30V over S35VN. And like I said, Boss does a good heat treat on their steels. So I prefer S30V because I think I get a better edge retention out of it. I like the way it takes an edge better. It just takes a crispier edge. Lasts longer. Now S35VN is a little bit tougher than S30V, so if you're looking for a little bit of a tougher steel more than edge retention, then you might want S35VN. Now both steels are great. I love them both, but you know, on a preference thing, if I'm not worried about toughness and I'm only worried about cutting performance, I prefer S30V. Now some people say that it gets a little bit chippy. I've never really had that, and I tested a lot of it, especially after I've sharpened the edge. If it's a factory edge, yeah, everybody's experienced microchipping and things like that on a factory edge. But after you've sharpened the knife and it gets into good steel, personally, I've never really had any issues with S30V chipping or anything like that. Now, if you do, then maybe you might want S35VN, or personally, I think you should just, you know, just depends on your angle and things like that you're sharpening it at. But I've always been able to sharpen S30V at even mirror edges, at low angles. Yes, after a while, it will start getting slick, but it takes a really good edge, and it does hold it for a good while. These edges, this one came better than the other one. It's okay. This one's not the sharpest out of the box. It doesn't have any bite. 154 cm is easy to polish out though. So this one actually came pretty good. It's okay. This one, on the other hand, they buffed it too much or polished it too much, and it's slick now. So, you know, 154 cm does have the tendency to do that. That's why you want to keep it at a medium grit and don't overstrop it. But all in all, I am very excited that Buck is, you know, kind of stepping up the game to some extent. Now, you know, in some cases, I think that, you know, they could do, if they just did little tiny details, they could massively improve overall quality, build quality, the feel, the everything. So, you know, I have high hopes. I hope that they start doing that, because I do think that for the price, they can be a little rough around the edges compared to some other knives. Now, yeah, it's a tool. Yeah, it's a knife. But that doesn't mean we don't, you know, have expectations after certain prices of how things should be. And I think that's where Buck kind of fails and they fall short. So hopefully they start, you know, stepping up things like that. We'll see how it goes. Love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.